Hello, welcome to Liz Rocks and Stuff. I'm Liz. This is episode 127 of What's in My Tumbler, starting off with a great horned owl that just flew up and chilled on our deck for a bit. Howlite. So this Howlite is in stage 3.5. We are going to be putting it into final polish. I am very optimistic about this. I think that it is going to at least have a sheen. I don't know if it's going to be shiny, but I think it's at least going to have a sheen when it's done. And I could be happy about that because why wouldn't I be happy? So we're going to just go through this and make sure nothing is chipped or broken. And do like we always do. Now, I will say later in the video when we get to Iolite and the Obsidian, cuts are going to get a little weird because I had to do some weird things today. But I'll get to that when we get there. But I did also change my mind about the Iolite batch and how I'm doing that. Again, we'll talk about that later. First, I'm just going to go through, make sure I have checked, at least seen all of the Iolite. It's, for being a soft rock, it stays together really nicely in the tumbler. So there's that. I've had harder rocks that just seem to crumble at nothing. But adding some water, we're going to put this through a soap cycle because it's going to go into the final polish. And I'm very excited about that. It's the culmination of some work. Anyway, I kind of have mixed feelings about this batch because I know a lot of people said you can't polish Howlite in a rotary tumbler. You have to have a vibratory tumbler. And I'm kind of out to just prove people wrong. Like, with the right technique, I think you can do it. And no, your results aren't going to be exactly the same, but also if you temper your expectations, it should be fine. Like, I'm not expecting these to come out looking like quartz that I just tumbled. I think your expectations should be, if I want these to be shiny, I would probably hand polish them, honestly. But anyway, getting off my soapbox. Somebody asked me recently about what are my favorite things to tumble, and I was like, the softer stuff, because everybody says you can't do it, but I seem to be able to do it. But anyway, tablespoon of borax, tablespoon of final polish, and I'm probably going to regret saying that next week when these come out and they're just dull. But, oh well, I already said I'm fine however these turn out. I like them how they are right now, so that's all good. All right, Obsidian again. So, the beginning of the weirdness. So this is going into stage 2, but stage 2 is where I start wanting to do like 50% rock, 50% media with a 80 to 90% full barrel. And clearly I do not have enough media here to accommodate that. And I just put more media into my Howlite, kind of the last of most of what I had that isn't currently being used. Just got put into Howlite. So the Howlite, the Obsidian, and the Iolite will end up having media because I also put some into the Iolite. So what I ended up doing here is added all of my stage 2 ready Obsidian to this barrel because it all needs to go through a wash cycle before it moves on to stage 2 anyway. So I'm just going to wash it all at the same time. And so this is going to get a tablespoon of ivory soap. Once it's rinsed, what I ended up doing is filming it. Is I split the filming. So you're going to see me rinse off these rocks. And then the next cut is going to look a little weird because what I did is I took out all of the obsidian and put it in a barrel off to the side, in a cup off to the side. And then I processed the Iolite because I ended up doing something different with the Iolite and took the media from that to put into here. So this is where that little cut, that's why this is in a cup and not being sorted out from the strainer. I'm going to put more than half of this in. And then this is the media that had been in the Iolite. And we're going to fill this up. And so this has the level of media to rocks that I prefer when I'm moving on with the obsidian. So this is going to get a tablespoon of borax, a tablespoon of stage 2, and moving on. So most of you probably wouldn't have noticed that that was kind of a weird cut, but for anybody that cares about it, it's because of how I had to process everything to make sure I had the media I needed for the obsidian to actually not get bruised in stage 2. So, moving on to decal, this is the South Dakota Chalcedony. Actually, some of these pieces were ready to get pulled out this week, so that was nice. So we're going to rinse all of this off and then inspect everything. It is smoothing out slowly. I did know that I was going to do another stage 1, so I didn't bother rinsing out the barrel. Why, when it's not going to hurt it to have leftover slurry. So some of these pieces just have like 1 or 2 little crevices or something that I would probably normally pull that out for stage 2, but since there's so many of these pieces that are going to need a lot more tumbling, why not just leave things in as long as possible? So I'm pulling out the pieces that are 100% smooth, will not benefit at all from any more time in stage 1, and then we're going to go from there. This is a little bit harder for me because a lot of the imperfections are ones that I can't see. You have to feel it, and I generally try to feel with my thumb, and I don't have a lot of feeling in my thumb, so I kind of have to just trust my eyes. That's just my own issues to have to deal with. So I did end up pulling about 5 or 6 rocks that are ready for stage 2. Everything's going to need more time in stage 1. It's no big deal. I know that this chalcedony is just going to take a while. So after all that sorting, we're going to do fill it up, tablespoon of borax, 3 tablespoons of stage 1, and this is ready to go. And then once this is all done, you'll get to see the Iolite was a mess this week, and it's going to be interesting seeing it next week. So essentially, after I had a bit of a conversation with somebody in the comments last week, I decided to do what they are doing with their Iolite and processing it like obsidian or like a softer rock to see if that can kind of fix the issues. So the first thing you're going to see me do is sort out the salmon feldspar. That's going to go off to the side for a future batch. It's not going to get tumbled with the Iolite anymore. So that's what I'm going to do first is process, check all of the Iolite. It does seem like most of it, the surface cracking that I saw is gone. So at least from a lot of it. So at least that's kind of the first thing I wanted to accomplish was get the surfaces smooth, because some of them just were not smooth at all. So maybe I didn't tumble them enough initially. Maybe they got cracked in the tumbling later. For a hard rock, apparently it is fairly fragile. It's just how the crystalline structure of it is. It is hard to get a good polish on. So I believe it was Robin that was telling me that she'd had issues with it as well. So this is where I added some media to this and then was like, well, I need the media for the obsidian. So I had to kind of figure out what I was going to do. So I just did the soap cycle with the Iolite. And then I'm going to put this in a smaller barrel so that I have less media. So I'm not going to do a 50-50 rocks to media like I do with obsidian, but I am at least going to have a good amount of, make sure the barrel is extra full so there's lots of cushioning. And hopefully that will let this stuff shine. I don't know what I'm going to do if this doesn't work. Probably just put it off to the side and forget about it like I did the amber. Shout out if anybody's been following me since I tried to tumble amber. Maybe I should try that again. Maybe I should just forget it and move on. But So yeah, I pulled out all of the Iolite from here. It took quite a while because there was a lot of media, so this stuff hides really well. My media also is some of it's pretty small, and it just, it's like sand sometimes. It's not really that bad, but I probably need to throw some of it out. Um, but the other thing that's going to be interesting with the Iolite, so this is my 1 pound barrel. I have 2 of them. I typically only use one at a time. I got all of this done, loaded up, water, borax, stage 2, all that, and then couldn't find the nut for the lid. And in looking at the video as I was editing it, it's in the barrel. So it's tumbling. I'm sure it'll be mostly fine. It should survive. But luckily, since I have 2, I did have another nut to close this up with. But yeah, that's why I don't put a nut on this, because I couldn't find it, and turns out I suspected it was in the barrel once I couldn't find it, but I also couldn't be bothered to empty this out and dig it out. So we'll just get it next week. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I hope you all have a good week.